Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Monday show of Coffee and Crypto Live. It is September 19th, the year of 2022, and we're about to have a fantastic show. But make sure, if you have not already, go grab your coffee. We're about to talk some crypto. Shout out already to Polycom, I think is how that's named. My favorite chat. It's going to take a lot to beat that chat from me today, who just said, I'm selling now. We'll buy back a little higher. That's good stuff. That's top notch. That's what we need on Monday mornings. That kind of comments. You are one of my new favorite Polycom. If that's how your name is said, I'm not 100% certain. Guys, there's a lot of stuff happening. In case you guys were sleeping the entire weekend, which would not have been that bad of a weekend, crypto was falling. And last night, Bitcoin fell all the way down towards 18,300. Other coins fell as well. The question on everybody's brain, though, is this it? Is this the time? Are we going to set new lows? As that title suggests, I am not freaking out right now. I am not afraid of this crash. I'm going to explain to you guys why and make sure you guys are set up to continue to think for yourself, but not fall for any traps that the market has for you. Potentially, this could just be the beginning of something special for a rally. We'll talk about that and more. There's a lot of stuff coming out. Of course, this week is the next Fed announcement. We're going to be hearing from Jerome Powell on Wednesday about what that interest rate hike will look like. Will it be 75 or do we go hawkish and go all the way to 100? There were millions and millions of dollars of liquidations. Most likely that, combined with the potential fear of a 100 basis point hike, that might have been why we crashed so much. We're going to find out more about that. CVO joins the show as well to look at some altcoins. So, of course, with Ethereum's proof of stake move last week, we're going to be talking about Ethereum and some potential trade setups for you guys. We're going to talk about Cardano because this is the week of Cardano with that Vasil hard fork supposedly supposed to be dropping this Thursday. We might even try to cover some XRP because I've been hearing a lot of people comment about it. I've had people DMing me on Twitter asking me to talk about XRP. So make sure you stick around for the entire show, because it's going to be a good one. I am joined by two fantastic co-hosts. I got T-Shoom over here in his Florida gray shirt. They're a very confusing team right now. I don't know what I feel about their season so far. After a very impressive win over Utah, they are not looking great over the last 2 weeks.
Florida is the best football team that exists, including in the NFL.
That's not true, but
that's the way that I feel about it, and that's how that cookie's going to crumble.
As much as it really pains me to say, I just feel like it's Georgia at this point, and then everybody else. Like, I don't even know if anyone's close. Speaking of college football teams that are not that good, how's West Virginia doing over there, Smay?
They won.
Townsend. I'm glad. You would think that they'd beat Townsend.
Anyways, I just want to say that West Virginia won.
Way to get in the W column. That's what I'm saying.
Big dubs.
This week is special for Smay and I, because this week Virginia Tech and West Virginia face off in Blacksburg.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be good because West Virginia's offense isn't bad, but our defense is pretty good too. So it's going to be a battle of strength on strength, weakness on weakness. Your guys' defense sucks. Our offense sucks. So it'll be a good game. Let me know in chat what you guys are excited for with college football this weekend. We're not going to stay a lot there, but I just wanted to give Smay a hard time. Speaking of Smay, let's go ahead and do one of our favorite segments of the entire show, incorporate our community in here, and read some of those green names.
Let's do it. Hallo, ich bin Smay. Du bist schon.
What?
I'd like to read green names, but I said, hello, I am Smay, and you are beautiful. All right. So we have here Agent Gold, Eric Brubaker. Let's see who else we have here. Mitch Shaw, Justin Eubanks. Let's scroll down and see some new names here. We got Crypto Ben Franklin, Josh Denham, Mike Lowry, Kasha Katz, Tyler Main, Gia S, Grand Roofing Incorporated, Matt C. Let's see who else we have here. It's 420 Wood. And so much more. Guys, I'm learning German, just in case you didn't know. That's why I spoke German just now. This is day 2 of learning German, and so I know a little bit of phrase. I know
a little bit of phrase.
I can say Kaffee und Milch bitte, which means coffee and milk, please. So if I go to a cafe, I'll be set. But anyways, I just want to say that. Goodbye.
There's an old German house song, and it's called Eins, zwei, Polizei. I can sing that whole song, and some of it's German. So.
I don't know German. No, that's what out of curiosity, what sparked wanting to learn German?
Can I be honest with you? I just was. It was one day I was sitting there. I was like, man, I really want to be bilingual, but I was like, I don't really want to learn Spanish, And
Hey, listen.
German is is similar to English grammatically, so it was like kind of it was an easy. I was like, that seems like an easy one to learn. And then also, I'd love to visit Germany one day, so I might as well learn it. And then my goal is, once I become fluent in German, I will reward myself with a trip to Germany. So.
Listen, if you guys are Office fans, Dwight said that he had it on good authority that in the next 20 years we're going to be speaking, the whole world's going to be speaking German, or a German-Chinese hybrid.
And I'm getting prepared.
So, yeah, that's way to start it off, Smay. Well, we're about to jump back into that was some fun coffee talk there. We're going to jump back into crypto here in just a second with our market pulse. But before we do that, we got over 300 people watching, but only 56 likes. That is not a good ratio. Go ahead and smash that like button if you are new here and you're wondering what the heck that was. Yeah, we do that every time. We got to warm up, get the day going. It is Monday, and it's time to have a good time. That's what we're about here at this channel. Is we're going to be talking crypto. We're going to help you guys figure out everything you need to do to invest for yourself, but we're going to have a good time and uplifting time doing it. So if that's something you love, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content and smash those like buttons, share it with a friend. We're about to jump into our market pulse, but our market pulse today is brought to you by the company Hedge. You guys know them, you love them. It is the company that allows you to get paid in crypto and not have to deal with exchanges if you do not want to. This is a troubling time. I'm not saying exchanges are necessarily bad. I think there's lots of exchanges that help us with a lot of things, but a lot of speculation that there's a lot of problems happening with them, and you really don't know which ones you can trust and which ones you can't. And if you want to ignore them and avoid them altogether, get Hedge today. There's a link in the description down below. Click on the link, and if you sign up, you get $10 of free Bitcoin. So I will never complain about free Bitcoin. If that's you, go get Hedge. With that being said, though, T-Shroom, go ahead and take us on into our market pulse.
If you're listening to the sound of my voice, that can mean only one thing, and that's that you are in the market pulse, baby. Let's do it. We're going to start off here on the Fear and Greed Index, and we are back down into extreme fear. On yesterday, we were in 27, and we have just really shot down here, losing 6 points to the downside, and it is just really going down. Actually, 5 points to the downside since yesterday, and yeah, we are looking more and more fearful here, but we're actually also lower than last week's low of 25. So we are going to continue to tread on, though, with some optimistic headlines here moving forward. But before we get into those, let's check on the CME futures, September 21st. We are looking forward to that date because that is the date that the Federal Reserve will be making their Fed rate decision of either 75 basis points or 50 basis points, or more likely than 50, 100 basis points. A couple weeks ago, 50 basis points was on the table, but now it is 100 basis points, and there's 21% of the CME future traders that are thinking that 100 basis points are likely to be the rate that the FOMC decides on September 21st. And that is up from days past for sure. But ladies and gentlemen, you can rest assured that more than likely 75 basis points, which are one of our favorite guests, Caleb Branson, touts, is the new 25 basis points. So 75 is the new 25 there to the market. We've talked about that in past episodes and probably future episodes. But that's all going to be dropping Wednesday. So if you've been trading with the Fed and the FOMC in mind, you're going to want to be paying attention to Wednesday because that's when those rates drop. Also, looking over here, I found this out today that I pull this up every day. You can also see the trad markets over here, Dow Jones, S&P, NASDAQ, all down moderately. So in the opening 30 minutes of the trading session there for the New York Stock Exchange, all down, dollar index up moderately. And we won't go into the VIX because that's something we've never covered before, but that's fine. Moving right along into our stories today in today's market pulse. Look at that. Look at that GPU right there. EVGA to stop making graphics cards after the Ethereum merge. If you don't know what a graphics card is, folks, this is the main component. Well, it's the sexiest component, you could say, in crypto mining. Okay, and EVGA, one of the major manufacturers of graphics cards, is saying they're closing up shop, at least on the graphics cards. EVGA, one of the largest manufacturers of graphics card add-in boards, announced late Friday that it is quitting the board business due to the bleak financial outlook in the sector post-Ethereum merge and its mistreatment from its partner, NVIDIA. So this is pretty big news because this could potentially bring GPU prices up a little bit. Not not by a lot, but this is if you have a cutoff in supply of something, then the price could potentially go up if demand stays the same. But demand has fallen off a cliff for these GPUs after the merge, because the ETH merge brought proof of work to a halt and brought us into the era of proof of stake for Ethereum, and that made all of those GPUs basically a lot worth less. And then now you have EVGA bowing out, and they also are complaining about their partnership with NVIDIA, but as you can see, their margins have been down so low versus NVIDIA's margins. And this article gets into those margin splits, but really the story here is that the Ethereum merge is basically starting to put so much pressure on the margins of these GPU manufacturers that EVGA has now bowed out of the graphics card manufacturing operation. So, more to come on that. If you're looking into gaming, now's your time to grab up one of those graphics cards. I'm thinking about potentially stocking up on some just to hold them, not even necessarily to use them to mine, but just to hold them, because I have a feeling in the back of my brain that something is going to happen to where those GPUs are going to be worth a lot more money in the future. South Korean authorities request Interpol red notice for Terra's Do Kwon. So, some people pronounce it Do Kwon. So this is a pretty big story here, just a continuation of the saga here with Terraform Labs founder and co-founder Do Kwon. They're on his trail yet again. South Korean prosecutors have requested that Interpol issue a red notice against Do Kwon, the co-founder of the collapsed Terra ecosystem. The Seoul Southern District Prosecutor's Office has begun the procedure to place Kwon on the Interpol red list and revoke his passport. So Interpol red notice are issued for fugitives wanted either for prosecution or to serve a sentence. Kwon has yet to appear on the Interpol red noticed site. So this situation is escalating. On Saturday, Do Kwon himself tweeted that, "I'm not on the run," or anything similar, adding that for any government agency that has shown interest to communicate, we are in full cooperation and we don't have anything to hide. So clearly kind of a Tom and Jerry type of situation here going on with the Korean authorities and Do Kwon as they kind of play a little cat and mouse here, trying to figure out how they can pin him down and kind of get to the bottom of what's going on over there at Terraform Labs that really led to so much destruction for the crypto markets and for the people obviously invested there in Terra and Luna. Tim, did you have any thoughts on this?
Well, maybe him and Brett Favre are hiding out. Did you guys hear about Brett Favre? And he's collabing with the government of Mississippi to use welfare money to purchase a new facility for Southern Miss, which is the college he went to and the college his daughter goes to play volleyball. They literally took millions of dollars. And there's text message that came out that was literally him saying, "Is there any way for the media to find out about this?" So Doe and Brett probably hiding out on a beach somewhere.
Yeah. Throwing the football around on the beach. That wouldn't, it's kind of scary having being added to the Interpol red list. But yeah. So in other news, over 433 million in liquidations as Bitcoin and Ethereum plunge. And we're going to be getting to the prices here of our favorite cryptos in just a minute. But kind of a little bit of background into maybe why they're sinking so much, or kind of the effects of their sinking at least, is the long traders are rattled amid today's bearish price action. Over 433 million from over 131,000 traders. 131 traders have been liquidated in the crypto market over the past 24 hours per data from CoinGlass. So over of the 433 million liquidated, over 379 million, or 87%, were long positions, indicating the market's bearish trend. So Ethereum leads liquidations with 173 million, followed by Bitcoin with 121 million over the same time period. You can see here the graph from CoinGlass showing all of those liquidations to the long side, meaning folks who were in long, meaning call options, right? Those were liquidated. So not a great look for folks who are going long on Bitcoin. But hey, when you get into the options market on crypto, you are really taking some risk there. Folks know what they're doing. Hopefully, actually, probably not. But you'd have to assume that they are hedging with some sort of wisdom, with some sort of strategy in mind. But Tim, what do you think about these liquidations?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that there was a bunch. We knew there was a bunch out there. We knew that there was the money out there. I think that there's still a case for this, and this goes into part of the narrative that I was going to talk about a little later on in the show with my opinion. I think there's still a chance that there could be some form of a bear trap. I'm not saying that necessarily. I know some of you guys know I have said I don't know if we absolutely have to drop below 17.6, but if we do, I think we would, like, the major fall that we had, we're going to wake up, or we're going to, like, have that surprise fall without all the bearish narrative. Based off of articles you're reading yesterday and today, the bearish narrative out there, the fact that we did not drop below and now we're rallying back up, to me is kind of a part of that thing of, like, saying, hey, if we drop below 17.6, this ain't the time. We got one more little rally in us at least before that happens. So even though there's a lot of liquidations out there, I think that there's potentially another upside that you could have some short liquidations. And if the narrative fits that we're going to be ranging between here and 25 and break that falling level of resistance that we're going to look at on the charts here in later on in the show, short liquidations would do it. That would push us above that descending level of resistance. So keep your eyes on that, what's happening there. But I'm just telling you right now, you can go follow me on my Twitter. I just posted this morning. Everything seems bearish right now. And if you've been in this space for a long time, you're going to say amen here and just say it. When everything feels bearish, usually rallies come after. When everything feels bullish, usually crashes follow shortly after.
Amen. Amen. Well, we're just going to read the headlines on this one and probably the next one as well. But ETH.link restored after Ethereum name service wins injunction against GoDaddy. So it looked like GoDaddy was trying to pull something a little bit crafty over on ETH.link, which is, they basically sell the domains for Ethereum related websites and related domains, I mean. And it looks like GoDaddy had essentially said, hey, your domain expired for ETH.link, and it actually hadn't, and then ETH.link sued them, and it looks like they just won the injunction. So that's a good outcome for crypto over GoDaddy, which is, I guess, Web3, you could consider them, one of the bigger names there in Web3 real estate, or Web2 real estate, GoDaddy is. And so ETH.link is getting a big win there. So big win for ETH and for Web3 to start the week. And then Ethereum fork, ETH Powell, so ETH proof of work, suffers bridge replay exploit token, and the token tanked 37% as a result. So I don't think I'm going to get into the details of this one too much, but because it gets pretty technical. But essentially, what ETH was, the ETH proof of work, has been exploited, and it did not do very well for that token. But what's important to keep in mind here is that is not the new ETH. So if you're seeing headlines, ETH tanking, that's because it's the old ETH. It's ETH proof of work, which is a fork of Ethereum, and is not currently what Ethereum is. Although Ethereum's not looking too great either today, but we'll be getting into that and some of the reasons why in just a minute. But yeah, just a good warning for you all. Don't be deceived here. Don't be misled, because there is another ETH out there that's really tanking, and it's not the ETH that we all know and love. And then finally, actually, there'll probably be one little tasty nugget after this one, but this is kind of the big story today as we lead up to the FOMC decision, the Fed decision. Biggest Fed rate hike in 40 years, question mark, just for the record. 5 things to know about Bitcoin this week. And it really gets into a lot of just kind of previewing this, but it looks like my highlighter tool may not have effectively highlighted here.
Didn't catch, huh?
Which is always a bummer. Let's see if I can get it to catch here. But I mean, essentially, we know the score here. I remember where it was. So the main event for the week comes in the form of the Federal Reserve's decision on key interest rates. After Consumer Price Index (CPI) print for August came in hotter than expected, the Fed will be under pressure to respond. As such, the market now fully priced in a minimum 75 basis point hike for the Fed funds rate and is not discounting the chances of 100 basis points, according to the CME Fed Watch tool as of September 19th. We took a look at those at the beginning of the market pulse. That was this guy here that's predicting 21% likelihood of a 100 basis point hike. So that's what this is alluding to. A 100 basis point increase would be the Fed's first such action since the early 1980s. So they haven't done a 100 basis point hike since the 80s. So that would be quite a big step there. But yeah, so all that's going down on the 21st on Wednesday. That prints what? Usually around 2 o'clock, and then 2:30. Yeah, it usually says it here. So at 2 o'clock is when the decision drops, and then at 2:30 is the press conference, and we will be going live Wednesday, as we usually do around that time. So we'll give you some more guidance tomorrow on exactly what the time will be, but definitely be planning to tune in with us around 2:30 to cover that that live press with Jerome Powell.
You know, you're on that story, Smay, go ahead and put that poll I asked you to put in chat. We're going to find out. I want to see what you guys think about what your prediction for Wednesday is. You know, while we're waiting on CVO, because I have not heard back from him yet. Hopefully I know last time I ended up talking with him afterwards, his internet was messing up. But I talked to him earlier this morning, so hopefully he comes in here in just a couple of minutes. But some thoughts about that prediction as you guys are getting to vote, as Smay gets that poll in chat. Here is, again, I'm going to repeat what I said last week. For those of you who are here, heard it already. Anyone who's new gets to hear this the first time. This is a perfect storm and perfect narrative for Jerome Powell and the Fed. Let's just track back to the beginning of this year when we knew that inflation was starting to get out of control, and he had a very dovish kind of soft voice. He even pushed back the first one. He kind of said the first month he could have given an interest rate hike. He said, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily time for it just yet. We can wait till the next time. And then he came out. There's a lot of people concerned. He's going to go 25. He's going to go 50. He ended up going 25, but making everyone feel like, guys, it's okay. We're going to handle this. 25 is going to be the new norm. It's all right. This is what happens because of COVID and we had to print money. Everything's going to be fine. Well, over the period of the last couple of months, the narratives have changed. Even with dovish kind of words, he's had to be aggressive, and we've had now it's just 275 basis point rate hikes at this point, right, T-Shroom?
That's correct.
Okay, so this will be the third. He has been behind the sticks at every single level. Every single time he gets a meeting, he has to come out as the bad guy who's trying to reassure everybody and make them feel better, but then he has to be aggressive with the actual rate hike, right? This is the first time since February that Jerome Powell gets to kind of be a hero, because we don't need higher than 75 at this point. That concept of if you go too high and you shut down the economy, hurt the economy, that's not good either. You know, yes, the window for a soft landing is small, and he has said that, but 75 is what is needed. So the fact that there's a lot of people freaking out about 100, this is the first time. This is the first time anyone has even thought about the fact that we have to do 100, but we have never heard from anyone at the Fed, even the ones that are more hawkish than Jerome Powell himself, have kind of talked about how 75 needs to continue. And what we saw with inflation numbers is technically CPI numbers went down. Not as much as we thought they were, but they went down. Core went a little up, but not a lot. If you continuously do 75 basis points, and the inflation is curving a little bit, if we back off and go 50 or 25, then yes, inflation could continue to climb. But with every single time we have interest rate hikes, it goes to 75 basis points. That's all that he's going to need, and he knows it. So with the narrative and the fear out there that we might see 100, that's exactly what Jerome Powell needs to be able to get up on stage on Wednesday and feel like he's a good guy by saying, guys, we're under control. We're going to stick with 75. This plan's going to work. Trust us. And the market will get used to it. So that's my anticipation. I'm a voter of 75 basis points, but I'm interested what you guys think. At this point, what I'm seeing is 61% say 75. Higher, 39% are saying 100 basis points. I would love to see you guys comment in chat why it is you guys feel like there will be a 100 basis point rate increase. No CVO still at this point, right, May? All right, so what we're gonna do some TA. I was talking with this morning, so my prediction on what's happening with CVO, I bet you he's having some internet problems. Once again, he'll have to get those fixed. But we're gonna go ahead and jump in and do some technical analysis ourselves. And let's go ahead and start with Bitcoin, because it is the one that we've been discussing here a lot. Actually, I'm so sorry, I'm jumping the gun. Before we get into technical analysis, there's a little teaser for you. We're going to be doing some Bitcoin technical analysis. We have to have our question of the day, and our whole technical analysis section is brought to you by Anthony Price. Anthony Price is our CPA. If you guys are wondering what you're doing about taxes this next year, and you're concerned because you know that the IRS is going to be cracking down on crypto more than ever before, and you don't want to pay a single dime more than you have to old Uncle Sam, make sure you get yourself a good CPA. Anthony Price is that guy. There's a link in the description down below. Call him for a free 15-minute consultation. And the best part about it is that he'll give you advice. And if he doesn't think he can save you money, then he does not take you as a client. So if you need some help, whether you need to pay him or not pay him, he's the guy that's going to help you out and make sure you protect your profits. Go check him out in the link below. So that is our sponsor. Now let's go ahead and jump into that question of the day. Before we jump into technical analysis, we're going to buy CVO a couple more minutes, and if he can't get in, then we'll go ahead and do TA ourselves. T-Shirt, what is our question for today?
Our question for the day, Tim, is would you rather, and Smay, do not go to my screen for this, would you rather go back to kindergarten with everything you know now, or know now everything your future self will learn?
Can you read that one more time?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry.
Would you rather go back to kindergarten with everything you know now, or know now everything your future self will learn? Tim, I want to throw it over to you to answer this question.
Yeah,
of the day.
This
Right
is
now.
hard. This is hard. I think it really boils down to this. I think it boils down to A, are you doing the job that you want to be doing the rest of your life? Like, do you love what you do? And B, if the answer to that question is no, then do you have a path to get where you want to go? Like, is the job you're currently working going to get you there? I like what I do. So I'm going to say I would love to know now everything that my future self would know about the crypto space, about how to run a great show and how to build a great community and help people better themselves each and every single day. If I can know all that now, what I'm going to learn over the next 40, 50, 60 years, hopefully, God willing, then I would love that. It was a little struggling because I was like, I could go back to kindergarten and learn what I know now about training and try to make it as a football player, but there's no guarantee. Those careers are not guaranteed whatsoever. Those careers are very short. So with that, I kind of like what I'm doing now. Smay, I'm interested in what you think, though. You're younger. You're the youngest person in the room. Would you go back to kindergarten, or would you just go forward with all the knowledge you learn in the future?
Well, here's the deal about it. I think I would go back to kindergarten, and the reason is because we kind of got, me and T-Shirt talked about the philosophy of it a little bit, but I think the thing is, you have so much more motivation as a kid, like just physically, you have so much more energy, you have so much more time, things are so easy, you're completely being supported by your parents, and so in that, it allows me, if I had the knowledge I have now, and that much freedom, I mean, and motivation is the key word. Like I have the energy to learn. I mean, and my brain is primed to learn at that age. I would do all kinds of being able to learn skills that would help me in the future, and invest in myself in that way. And I think that would be the best. I think I would go back with what I know.
What about you, T-Shirt?
The thing about going forward in the future is it kind of ruins a lot of the surprise of what's going to happen in your life. But I guess that effect kind of happens too if you go back in the future. But I would rather go back in the future, even though I would, if in kindergarten you can't trade.
Back in the future, back to the past?
I would go back to the past.
Yeah.
Back to the future.
There's you've been watching a movie here.
Might be a movie concept in there somewhere. But I think it would be a little better to go back. Just because, I could really learn how to respect my parents more and understand the sacrifices they made. Because I think when I look at a lot of young people, it hasn't clicked for them. And I don't necessarily think it's their fault. I think it's society. I think it's their, frontal lobe development. But I think I would go back and I would have a lot more appreciation for my parents. And, I would have avoided some of the mistakes that I made. And yes, I would take note to invest in Google and Bitcoin and Amazon and everything that we know would pop off big time. And, maybe sprinkle in a couple predictions there, start a blog, and freak a bunch of people out with how good I am at predicting things. But yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, good answers. Good, while we were doing that, I got a message from CVO. I think he's in. Is he not, Smay?
Yep.
Yeah, sweet. So what's going on, CVO? How you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Is the Wi-Fi all is working again?
I think so. I think I got it all squared away.
Sweet, dude. I'm excited to have you on here. I told them right before we did the question of the day, and we'll go ahead and just keep moving forward with it. I told them I was about to do Bitcoin technical analysis, but I know I was going to ask you a lot about altcoins. Do you have any thoughts on the charts currently for Bitcoin that you could do maybe 2 to 3 minutes of, and then we'll jump onto some Ethereum, Cardano, and maybe even some XRP talk? What are you seeing on the Bitcoin charts?
Yeah, absolutely. Just 2 seconds here.
Yeah.
So As many of you know, I work with Magic Internet Money, and he comes on here quite a bit as well. And I think he was going over some of the major areas we were looking for quite a while, and pretty much all on him. Like he pretty much focuses heavily on Bitcoin, as I do the altcoins in our group here. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Yeah, he's great. We love Magic Internet Money.
Yeah, I mean every single time he comes on, every time you guys both come on, it's been amazing. So
his levels are literally like magic, man. So on the last few updates, I know that he was hammering home on this 18,775-ish area, which was an untapped daily from basically the move up, where we actually just launched from, what was it, September 6th, so the beginning of this month. We essentially just ran it, pretty much straight up. Ran it right to the golden pocket, I think, that you were looking for quite a bit there, Tim. Yep. Almost to 23K, and just a perfect run, a perfect rejection, and then essentially just a meltdown. The only thing is on the way up here, we left a few things down around the low here, which we basically just came down and took out. So pretty beautiful on the way down there, right? So now we came down. This is what's known, if we start to see this close on the 4-hour time frame, as a swing failure pattern, right? So this is basically, a lot of people look at that as like a fake out or this or that. When you get down past that low, you're triggering all the stop losses. You're really going to get everybody freaked out and worried and scared, and assuming that we're going to head a lot lower, when in reality you're just coming down, grabbing liquidity. You hear that term a lot, and you're just going to turn around from there. So for me, I'm looking for a couple of things here. One, if you're on a short-term trade, the entry was basically the reclaim of this daily back here at 18,775. We got that obviously for the short term, stop loss just below, yada yada. But as far as like a mid to long term reign here, we'd want to see some more reclaim along these regions ahead of us here. So for one, this is the overall range that we're in, basically from middle of June, right? So coming back in and reclaiming the low, that's about 19.6. We've got the point of control very close. This is our natural target. Once you re-enter a range, this is at 19,800, 21, give or take. There's a couple boxes here that are like blocking my price. Oh, there we go. Okay. Monthly open, we got the untapped weekly key level. So this is the average price from last week that just generated yesterday, or I guess today at 8 p.m. last night, technically today. So I'd imagine we'd come up and tag this level some point this week. It's got a pretty big probability that these levels are met within the next week at some point. So that's 20,500. And for me, for more upside, you'd really want to see that level reclaimed. So I know that that's a lot of groundwork ahead of us. But in the short term, for me, I'd be looking for 20,500 to be reclaimed for more upside. Otherwise, it is possible to come up, get a rejection right here at 19.6 and just continue melting down. Personally, I don't necessarily see that necessarily going on. Granted, you got to be prepared for everything. Only reason I say that is just because I think everybody is just, we spent so much time now in this region below 20K, and it's just that psychological warfare at this point that everybody's just totally on board with 10, 12K coming now and what have you. So not necessarily we can't see it, but I just at this point, you're taking it level by level as always, and I'd be looking for that for the journey back to the upside, right? I
agree. Real quick, Smay, go to my screen. I want to show it to a CVO so he can see it. There's something that I was noticing here last week. Those of you who are watching, I think on Friday I was talking about this. But there's a trend line. There's a trend line that goes all the way back to the all-time high in November. And yes, we broke through it. But why this trend line is so significant, we have a touch right here. It's causing us to currently have a descending triangle. But it also, when we broke through it back here in March, we ended up using it as support before breaking through it once again when we had the news of, I believe this was the Terra Luna news that broke us back down. And we're using this as a descending level of resistance. Now, here's the question I have for you, Paul. We had this zone kind of setting us up for some support, and unfortunately it's flat level support, hence the descending triangle. With this descending levels, what I'm looking at, I think you mentioned 20,005. I'm looking over the next little bit. I think we need to get up above that and break through this resistance and turn into support again. Otherwise, we are very much in danger of playing out a descending triangle. And in case anyone is wondering what the prediction of that would look like, I'm not saying we necessarily have to hit this. I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys. Oop, did not grab the tool that I wanted. If we start with the opening of the triangle down to this point and over to our breakout, this is going to give us a price prediction all the way down here of $10,400. So what do you think about that? Do you think that there are things on the charts that we could break through? You said 20,500. I'm looking around 21,000, give or take, by the time we get over there. Do you think that's possible? We end up turning this into a bullish momentum, or do you think that that descending triangle is going to play out?
I mean, like I said, until we re-enter this region, which to me is 19,650, you do have to kind of assume that we're still heading lower, right? This could be nothing more than an oversold bounce. We run up, we get a bearish retest, and we continue down. So, I mean, that's technically where, you should be looking at right now. Granted, like, you wouldn't want to be opening up shorts at this point, like this and that. Like, if you're not short from higher, or if you haven't hedged already, I mean, these is not the time, obviously, because we are at support and are at the lows. So, I know nobody wants to really hear that. But as far as 21,000 and things of that nature, I mean, that's, when we talk about looking at patterns and the ranges in general, I tend to try to overlap them and see how the levels with the certain areas that we're looking at, as far as like a pattern or a breakout would look. And sometimes, it's just kind of I look for a more certain area because, wouldn't you love to be looking more for the confirmation above 20,500, before you really get that breakout $1,000 later. That's kind of what I look for more than anything. Obviously, when you get that level, I think you just said 21,500. I'm assuming, like you said, you're looking at the descending triangle. So if we break that to the upside, that would be that level that you're looking at. And for me, I mean, if we punch through this level, I mean, we're, going to see probably 23,300. We've got an untapped weekly up here at 24,300. And then after that, I mean, it's pretty much off to the races as far as any more upside. So, it's hard to talk about these kind of levels while we're down in the trenches and everybody's so bearish and everybody's so worried. But to me, aside from us just coming back, and honestly, this is really what you wanted to see. We didn't get this over when we dropped down last time, right? And so what this is that, we had this low basically, and then you got, your higher lows across the board. And when we came back down, you pretty much came in and, everybody looked at this as like a double bottom. Wasn't really strong. Yeah, we got a nice strong bounce out of it, but a lot of times, and you'll see this all the time, and it is looked at as a double bottom or a double top. But that swing failure pattern, right, where you come down and actually take out that previous low, because right here, what happened is if anybody entered this position on a long, right, and that's the thing, you got to look at everything against leverage. I mean, everybody, for the most part, I think most people are actually holding in spot and long term and mid to whatever. But as far as how the market's going to move in and day out, it's going to be wrapped around the leverage positions, right? The people that are going to be, getting liquidated or stopped out, whatever. And on this move up, if you would have entered, where would you have put your stop loss? Where you would have put it below the low. And even if it was anywhere up in this region, I mean, that's a pretty big area right there. And then what you see here is you come down, you just wipe everybody out that had this really nice euphoric little run. I mean, this was a pretty big run, right? This was like 25% almost. And he gave it all back within a couple of days and then some. So anybody that held that and got greedy, just, hoping to run it up to, 50K from here, just literally gave that whole move back. Very similar to over here, because most people did not enter on this low. Most people probably entered around this region. So if you've been holding this entire move up, most people put those stop losses below this low, which is essentially this low as well. So you just stopped out basically everybody for the most part for over the last couple of months here. This is really what you want to see. And because now we have some fuel to essentially run that to the upside pretty heavily. We didn't get it here. We did get it here so far. So obviously if we start coming down and start beating on this level again, not good looks. But for me, I would imagine that this could be the one that actually takes us up a little higher. And like I said, it's hard to talk about higher prices right now. But I still foresee us running up. I know there's a lot of talk about melt ups and this and that to like 50K and back to all-time highs. I don't necessarily see that. I think that there's a very big case for everyone looking for 10K and then everybody looking for 50K, and I'm in the camp that we're not going to see either, right? I mean, I'm not saying we won't see 50K ever, but no time soon, and that we really would just kind of range around for quite a bit. Granted, the range is massive, right? I mean, you've seen what can happen in the market just from Bitcoin dropping from 17 to 25, and you had Matic and Kwon and Ethereum and all kinds of other coins, 200-300% moves just in that short period right there, and then obviously gives it back. If we run it back again, you can anticipate the same across the board, right? For me, as we kind of walk into the end of the year now, right? We're walking into Q4. It's kind of the meme where everybody considers like October, like Uptober and this and that. we're about to get this final FOMC meeting, this week. And where's Bitcoin, right? We're at the low. We just took out the low, and we have massive targets ahead of us, right? And I'm not looking at 50K. My melt up target has been and will remain 30,966. And I bring that up just in the idea because, yes, can we go lower, right? This is that conversation that everybody's always like, oh, you're saying it could go up, it could go down. And realistically, yeah, that is what it is, right? Like nobody knows how this market's going to move. All we can do is try to be on the right side of it, probabilistically, if that's even a word, and kind of hedge our positions in that fashion, right? So can this come up, reject, go down to 10K? Sure. For me, I think that we have a case now that at this point now with the swing failure right here, that we run it back slowly over the next maybe 2-3 months. And we really push it into this region, right? And some of the news catalysts that'll get wrapped around that could be, Fed doesn't raise interest rates as high as everybody anticipates, or whatever the case is, right? Whatever the news has got to be to kind of like facilitate that move. But we've got some really nice moves up here. And once again, taking a level by level is really what you want to look for. This weekly up at 24,328 is going to be basically that last line in the sand before we see, some pretty big areas above us. You got the overall golden pocket to like 27K, untapped quarterly. So this is the high time frame average of price for the last 3 months up here at 28,395. You got your point of control from Q2, 886, and then you got the range low from the entire range that you spent 2021 in. So this to me is a big area to be paying attention to, right about 31K. That would give everybody the idea. If you got in at anywhere in these regions now, right, and just picture something similar to this.
Yeah.
We run it all the way to the high. What is everybody going to be looking for and doing? Nobody's going to be exiting their positions at 31,000. And I'm not, once again, like that's something when we get there, if we get there, we'll reevaluate. But everybody's going to be looking for what? 50K. So that's just kind of my roadmap at the moment. Yeah. Has been pretty much that for quite a while, right? And then the journey to how we get there is very, very clear here, right? You really want to clear out some of these regions. This weekly to me is pretty much the highest one, 24,300, let's just say. We got a couple of levels above us. This untapped quarterly being a big one. We don't go too long without coming through and tapping these on a statistic level, right? So this has got like an 80% hit rate. So that's just one thing to kind of keep in mind. And so can we go lower? Always is the case. But for now, I think that we got probably some more upside, at least, even just to rotate this range one more time. We'll see how things go down with the FOMC meeting and walk into Q4, right? So that's kind of where I'm at.
Come on, Paul. That I can't say I agree any more than I do. I mean, that was great. That's kind of the same stuff I'm looking at, but even hearing some of the numbers you put in between where we currently are in 30,000 that we're looking for was fantastic. I didn't know that you were going to go that much about Bitcoin because you are known, like in your group, with you and Kagan, you're the altcoin guy, but I love what you're showing us here on Bitcoin, and I know our fans do as well. Let's move into some of those altcoins, and we're going to have to be a little briefer with them, but I am interested to hear what your thoughts are about Ethereum and Cardano, and then if you have any thoughts about XRP whatsoever. Like I said, we got to be a little quicker, but I want you to show some key levels you're looking at when you're looking at altcoin trading opportunities here in the future.
Got it. Yep. So, obviously Bitcoin is a big one to just kind of keep your eye on to kind of get a pulse for the entire market. ETH. So the few times I've been on here, I've showed you this chart right here. This is the overall Q2 range. This is the high time frame area. It took 3 months to build out. We were at the low, obviously, in June, around $2,000 at a time here. And then the biggest area on this chart that we were looking for, I called it the fresh entries, was basically this point of control. Essentially, this is also the overall range high from that dump, essentially. And I'm just going to kind of highlight this whole region, right? So it's basically $1,218 up to about $1,318. And this was the area of fresh entries. Reason being that this was from the low to high, our golden pocket, which I'm shocked that I haven't seen anybody even bring that up at all. Everybody's just straight up in panic mode saying, why is he dropping after the merge, this and this and this, when this is just as technical and almost as basic as you could get, would be coming down to the golden pocket. So that's exactly where we came down to. We're basing off of that right now. Right now you got, as far as the next levels to the upside would be, we got an untapped weekly. So this is the average of price from last week, 1482. Your monthly open for September is 1555. A big level to get above is going to be these two dailies. We got an untapped monthly range high, and then one of my bigger targets up here does get up there about 2,600, and then if anything of what I just went over in Bitcoin comes to fruition with running it up to 29, 30K, whatever. And once again, that's over time, next couple months, whatever. ETH is going to start pushing into some of these higher levels as well, between anywhere from 2,500 to 3,300 as well. So losing this golden pocket, like I said, you got the 1,215 region for that, the bottom of this fresh entries idea. And I bring that up in a spot idea, right? This is like some mid to long-term holds. I mean, you could go for some leverage longs, whatever, I guess. But this, if you didn't pick up anything in this region around $1,000, I bring this one up. And this is kind of going on that idea again, saying like, okay, maybe this isn't the exact bottom, but if you are in a DCA position, this is the area you want to start considering. Because even if you pull it all the way back, and I will say that there is an untapped daily level at about $1,030 on ETH. So very similar to the level we just came down to on Bitcoin. That equivalent is all the way down at 1,033. Will we get it is the question. And from where we are now, that's approximately a 23% drop. So yeah, if you were to buy in here and we were to fall down to there, obviously you take a short-term loss or whatever, but no different than if you were buying at 22 and just holding it all the way down to where we are now. But this area going all the way back down to 1,000, I think would be a really, really grand entry if you get it. Otherwise, though, like I said, where we are now, we are at major support. We have had a pretty decent pullback across the board. Bitcoin just hit some really key levels. So for ETH to kind of align that, I think that we're in a really good position to finally maybe rotate this range in full in the next coming months here.
I got a last question for Ethereum. We'll move on to Cardano. Paul, what do you think end of 2022, what is Ethereum's price sitting at?
It's a hard question to answer because, is that December 31st or is that at some point before December?
December 31st. Well, okay. What is the highest we will get to between now and December 31st?
I think 3,300 has a shot.
All right, then you and I are in the same casket because everyone called me crazy for saying that here about 2 weeks ago. But at least, if the shots come from me, Paul, you and I are arm in arm. We're going to hold tight. We're saying we're going up. My range is, you mentioned 26. I said 26 to 3,000 is my range before the end of the year, and people call me crazy. So I'm glad to know I'm not the only one, and I'm glad to know I'm in good company. Let's move on to Cardano. What are you seeing on the Cardano chart, especially with the fact that Vasil hard fork, according to Charles Hoskinson, is coming live on Thursday? We'll keep you guys updated on anything changing with that, but what are you seeing on those charts? It's another scary one for me because there is a descending triangle, which traditionally breaks to the downside and has a target of 25 cents. The only issue is with that bullish narrative, there is a potential chance that Cardano could avoid the dip. But what are your thoughts on what's happening with Cardano?
So, it kind of all stems back to the Bitcoin idea, right? Where we saw Bitcoin just take out a pretty decent low. And then from there, you kind of correlate where the rest of the market is at the same time, right? So Cardano chart, we've gone through this quite a bit, right? Once again, high time frame range that we've been covering here. You got your low comes in about 41 cents, which we're very close to coming back down to. The high is a really interesting target because it is the untapped quarterly. So this is another high, this is 3 months average of price, as well as the overall range high. Up at about 70 cents. You know how I feel about 72 cents. And then from there, we can update, right? And we can come back to that. I've discussed that in the past already. Looking at this though, right? So one thing to initially point out, you got bullish divergence, right? On the 4-hour time frame, low, higher, low, low, lower, low in the price action. Real quick, just to look at that. Aside from that, you got your point of control, which is oddly enough, the last week's key level now. So that's the weekly pivot from last week. That's the average of price from all last week's 47 cents. Always is the goal is to be above this point of control, right? This is the highest traded area on the chart. This is where the most volume comes in. Right now we're below it, not great. Getting above that would be, your first line of defense for some more upside here. Like I said, this is also doubling as this week's weekly pivot. So that's another area of resistance as we come up to it. But as we flip that to support, that's a really nice sign. You got a couple of monthlies above you here. And in a sense, I know you're looking at the descending triangle, which, very valid at that point. And, I agree that if we do break that to the downside, essentially you'd be breaking out of this range, which would not be great, right? You start breaking the low and come back and you get the old back test and you run it down. That's those two align, right? That descending triangle and this range literally line up on the same, playing field. So you don't want to see that. And for that, you got really clear invalidations, right? So if you're doing anything, you know that if you could set alerts for this region and it starts dropping below that, you probably got some trouble. Even if it does something like this, and I know this is where a lot of people struggle, is the kind of like management of this is, if you break down, granted, you got this low all the way over here. So technically you'd have to look for that to kind of get taken out, and then a back test, and then yada, yada, yada. I think we'd be in some trouble if we start really closing below this range low. That'd be your first signal. And if you're in, holding a bag of Cardano or anything like that, and if you wanted to de-risk, it's not the best idea, obviously, de-risking it at such a low level that we are now. So you really just want to, it depends on your strategy at that point. If you want to, this is all jacked up, sorry. If you were, to set alerts in that region, and, I don't know if it's something where, if you foresee the price going to 25 cents, like you said, if it's worth it to you to dump, a quarter your position in attempts to buy it back lower. The only thing with that is you really have to have a nice hardcore strategy, in the sense of, if you drop below this range, which would also be a breakout of that descending triangle, what happens a lot of times is we get a fake out, right? So with that pattern, that would be looked at as a fake out. If you just broke to the low down and came back up, realistically, to me, that would be a deviation of the range, is what that's called, where you live a little bit outside here, you come back in, you reclaim the range, and then you would go back, and now you got a natural targeted point of control. Once again, you're targeting the highs. That would coincide exactly with that same pattern. So you'd really have to be, all over it, in a sense, to make sure that you're aware of what changes things at that point. So, but for me, we're just still in this range. One thing to point out is that I'm looking at a high time frame range here, right? I do all these altcoins on a mid to long term basis. We don't, not as much on the day traded and things like that. Kind of stick to just Ethereum with that. But for Cardano, if you kind of zoom it into just this quarter now, because we're finishing up this Q3, right, as we're coming into the end of September. So this is a dynamic range until it's not, essentially. And that's going to get, put in stone here pretty shortly. So I don't tend to really look at them or give them too much mind until we get close to the end, because they won't change too much more. But if you're looking at a range within a range, once again, you're at the low of this quarter. So what does that mean, right? You're at major support. So you're at major support right here. You have some really major support right below us at 41. If we get there, we got point of control for Q3, point of control for Q2, weekly pivot right here, creep up, reclaim that 47 cents. We've talked about 47 cents on here a couple of times in the past. And then I think, we really make a case for running it up. And one of the biggest reasons to me is still pay attention to Bitcoin, but what Bitcoin just did is exactly what we've been, kind of looking for. So hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like they're kind of, unless Vassal can take Cardano to the next level, tied together. They're both sitting in descending triangles. They're both sitting with some bearish narrative right now in terms of price action. But could we see that swing here on Wednesday when the Fed, in my honest opinion, is going to be dovish and going 75 basis points, in which case the price has been baked in and it's time for a nice little rally to happen. Let's do one more. And a lot of people have been asking us about this, and I wanted to bring you on. I don't know if you look at it very often, but we can explore this one together for our fans. What are your thoughts about XRP? It actually, over the weekend, had a nice little pump. So it came back down with the other ones as well, but you're going to notice going to that chart, like you just pulled it up, it's setting a higher low. So what are your thoughts about what you're seeing on XRP's chart right now? Is this a coin you would look at trading, or are you a little cautious at the moment?
So clarify what you mean by trading, because trading XRP is beautiful because it has ranged so simply for a long time. But that is exactly what it is, right? These are short, like little moves here. The average person probably doesn't want to see just 8% and then give it right back up. So I know what you mean, but yeah. So I've got a really simple. We've got some really in-depth charts on XRP, but this one is just my very simple, as clear and cut as you get. Right. These are some major targets, major levels, I guess I should say, that you want to be aware of, and then from there I would update it going forward. But you can see here, where we run it up to, point of control. So that's the major target, within the range. I say major, it's the natural target, almost like a magnet of price action, right? This is where, once again, the most volume is had in this region. So this is the number one area where the price will be either defended to the upside or to the downside, because this is where most people are coming in at, right? So you got the run up. We had a golden pocket down here. That's probably old for some reason, the short-term thing. And from here, I mean, very similar to Cardano. I would be really, really looking for XRP to clear and hold above 40 cents before getting too excited, I guess you could say. I think that there's a case, once again, if Bitcoin is going to make a run, like I suggested earlier, and Ethereum as well, obviously the rest of the market is, everything is at, and has been around these lows. We are at a pivotal moment, of course, where we got a big meeting coming up this week. We are in positions where at the end of the day, we could look back 5 years from now and be like, damn, Tim was, spot on that, descending triangle across the board, and that just broke down and yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, those are very valid ideas to be aware of right now. But, when and what changes is if we start clearing some of these regions here. So clear up above 40 cents, start holding it. And what I mean by that is, look for, you could see across the board, this is a 4-hour time frame, came down, we held it pretty decently. And then since the 10th of June, so July, what is that? 3 months of price action now, we cannot get back above 40 cents. You got a wick right here. You just ran back up to it again right here, clear above 40 cents. And, I think that we're going to see some fireworks for XRP. One of the big areas I'm looking at here would be all the way up at 70 cents. But until we get there, right, we got some speed bumps in the middle. Once again, nice high time frame average price comes in about 50 cents, give or take. It's right at 48.85. And then you've got the overall range high up here. Realistically, based on a volume idea, look left here. And once you clear this daily at 44, there's really no volume that's going to slow us down, other than just, depending on how Bitcoin and Ethereum and the rest of the market is going to react at the time. Major target comes up here at that 70 cents. And from there, like I said, we could update. But yeah, I mean, I foresee, and SEC case or not, XRP, things like Litecoin, there's been some really major projects that have been consolidating for several years that I do feel will, have their day once again. XRP just might, somewhat coincide with some news from the SEC lawsuit at some point. But yeah, I mean, I think that, in a short sentence, one little one-liner, clear 40 cents, and we're looking up for XRP.
Gosh, man, Paul, it's awesome having you on here. I want to, as we let you go here in just a second, what coin are you most excited about? Was it one of the four that we talked about, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, or XRP, or is there another one, then we'll have to get you on again here very soon to talk about? Is there another coin that you are really excited about in these next couple of months for some good bullish movement?
Yeah, Near Protocol has been probably one of my favorites over the last few weeks here. And I say a few weeks, but pretty much for the last few months here. So, and I won't bore you with the details, but one of the things is that this printed one of the largest ranges from Q2 of this year. Whether or not it gets met is the case. From low to high, that would be approximately a 400% move to the upside. We accumulated a lot down in these regions, and picking up pretty much anywhere we can. So, like I said, we can discuss that at a later date. I know we're running out of time, but Near Protocol would be definitely one I'm paying attention to.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a super chat about that, actually.
We had a super chat about.
Yes.
Well, let's before we let him go, let's read that super chat, and then
I can do that real quick since I'm tracking it. Jason Lange donated $5. Cardano mom to ETH. Welcome to Proof of Stake. Also, your thoughts on Near Protocol? They have stupid fast TPS and already sharding. Thanks. So yeah, just kind of generally asking what our thoughts are on Near. Looking at that range, that it's looking like a good time to buy for traders to potentially trade that higher. But from a project standpoint, did you have any thoughts on that, CVO?
It's you're gonna laugh when I say this, but I could almost not tell you anything about half the projects that we trade. So I know that I really need to. That's why I like to come on here and I get the fundamental side of things, right? So I really just pull up, we pull up the chart. I mean, I know the basics, obviously, of what it is, just kind of make, poach it and, make sure it's not a total scammer. But as far as that would go, I'm not the guy to even, I don't even know what sharding means. And but for me, what I'm looking at here as far as the price action would go, So I got the overall range I just spoke of here. One of the major areas is the quarterly point of control down here at 345. So I know this looks a little bit muddy right now, but I kind of tried to gray this area out right here. So like I said, this is a pretty big high time frame range that came in with huge, low to high rotation possibility here, right? The developing quarter is a little smaller, a little bit more compact, which is generally what you'll see. But one thing I do want to point out is that, we came down, we're losing the point of control in this, and the low of this current range lines up with our point of control, right? So of the Q2. So between where we are and 343, if we get it, this whole little region, in my opinion, would, and this is, once again, this is on a spot trade. This is a mid to long term hold, not trying to day trade and put in leverage and, all this and all that. This is just picking up a project that if you believe in and whatever, I believe in the price action. So that's what I'm going with. And then, otherwise you can do whatever. One beautiful thing about this specific chart that we just covered in our members only update last night is when you see this P profile, right? This is generally a continuation pattern, and then since we've been trending to the upside, this is a continuation to the upside, right? So I would imagine we're going to break this range to the upside in the coming days, weeks, whatever, and that would kind of put us back in the mark of this overall area right here. So some key points is, once again, Bitcoin just came down to some pretty notable areas, right? And I really hope everybody, was following what I was putting down there. And you got to know the invalidation of that alone. And then obviously if Bitcoin's going to, tank any lower, obviously the rest of the market is just done zone. We're going to, to the gulag, I guess. But overall, this range does run it all the way back up to about $13. A major area comes in at 11. And then one of the things I just love to point out is that realistically, it's this daily for me. That would be the last, major resistance in my opinion, because you can see we got nothing above it. So that would be my near outlook in the near term.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Come on.
Yes. Yeah, so the fact that they already have sharding is a pretty big deal, and it looks like they have what's called nightshade, with sharding, which seems like it's a little bit more advanced version of sharding. Ultimately, here the whole point of it is it has higher throughput than Ethereum, right? All of these tokens that aren't trying to be interoperability or oracles, a lot of them are just trying, like Avalanche and Solana. They're all trying to basically compete with Ethereum. Whether or not they're trying to kill Ethereum is to be determined. But sharding is essentially, that's what is going to make Ethereum, the technology sharding is what's going to make Ethereum's gas fees go down and the throughput faster. This merge that just happened, really the only outcome of note was its environmental impact became more favorable. And some other things, obviously. But the sharding is really, and it's so near is kind of showing and showcasing what makes it unique is that its sharding is not only active on its blockchain, it's also, kind of in this nightshade, version that it deems to be even more efficient than what Ethereum sharding could be. So, but it's not Ethereum. That's the big downside for these altcoins that aren't Ethereum, is that they're trying to compete with something that is just really, really established and continues to prove again and again. While it takes a long time to meet deadlines, when it hits those deadlines, it consistently makes good product. So.
Right.
Well, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to add Near Protocol to something we're watching, both price action and fundamental updates. Paul, thank you so much, man, for joining us. I can't wait to have you on again here very soon. Make sure, everybody, there's a link in the description to go follow him on Twitter right now. Go follow him on Twitter. As he said, there's also a YouTube channel that he has as well that you guys can spend more time listening to his charts. With that said, though, Paul, we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Sweet. Yeah, that was good stuff. I didn't know he was going to go long on Bitcoin. I'm really glad he did, because that was all really good stuff. I even introduced it. I was like, oh, you'll hear your second, for a second on Bitcoin, and then we'll jump into altcoins. Yeah. But absolutely. It's really important that we understand what's happening on the Bitcoin chart, because demand will heavily follow for those larger coins what Bitcoin's doing. Yeah. You have a thought there, T-Shrimp?
Well, do we want to have one more super chat, but we also have this poll. We could
We
kind
have
of
several super chats.
yeah, we could
Yeah, I
kind
think I saw several super chats coming out throughout the show. Let's do some super chats. We all have the HODL Trophy predictions today, so make sure you guys stay tuned for those so you guys can hear our predictions, and then in the comment section give your own. The winner from last week, do you guys remember the name of the winner? I announced it on Friday, but I'm struggling to remember. We should have written it down. I'll have to announce it tomorrow. But I remember it being there, and they were in chat.
I remember his logo.
Does anybody rember? Say it in chat.
Yeah.
And we'll
But
swing,
let's
swing back
let's
around
read
to
the
that.
super chats, and then we'll get back to that.
All right. Oh, that was
That's
my
you.
cue.
That's you, Smay.
Oh, I was going through the chat to see if I saw the guy because I know his icon.
Smay's working overtime over there.
I'm doing too much, guys. I'm doing too much. Anyways, I'd like to read some super chats. So you already read the one from Crypto Alchemist, so thank you so much for that, Crypto Alchemist. And then we have a good one from Crypto Sega that says, no, hello. That's all it says. Hello. Hello. Then we have one from Jason Lange and Lang.
yeah, we read that one.
Lang.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Okay.
What does it say?
You did, but I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
Oh, my bad. I thought the one that you read was Crypto Alchemist. All right, I'm going to read Crypto Alchemist now. Sorry, I almost skipped over that one. See, I'm doing too much, guys.
He's doing too much.
We have from Crypto Alchemist says, guys, don't forget to tune in to Office Hours. Great venue to ask specific questions. Great community atmosphere. Thank you for all you do. BTFD. I don't know what that means.
Boom.
Do you know what that means?
BTFD.
Buy the
freaking
freaking
dip.
dip. There we
let's
go.
say that.
I was gonna. Oh, there
We
we
know
go.
all the hip crypto
That's right.
No, I don't
That's
know.
right. That's right.
I'm not a hip guy.
Come on, man. Let's go. All right.
gracious.
All right. Anyways, I'd
Keep
like
going.
to read some
Keep
more
going,
super
yeah.
chats here. We have from, and then the last one we have actually here is from Magic Internet Money. Says CVO looks thin. Must have got his dial-up internet back up and running. Happy Monday. Don't forget to hit the likes for these gentlemen. Oh,
Love Kagan. We're going to have Kagan on again here really soon. Always love having technical analysts come on and explore the charts. Again, the biggest thing, I just now, Paul and I are in the same boat on Ethereum. So if that ship sinks, we're going to go down that together. I know I saw in chat some people asking, what about that prediction Tim said about Ethereum? When is Ethereum going to explode? Just be patient. The fundamentals are there. Remember, price is downstream of fundamentals. Those fundamentals are grasping right now. They're taking effect, and the price will follow later. Let's go ahead, guys. Let's transition and do our HODL Trophy predictions, and then we'll wrap out today's show. Smay, you are the current champion. And I have an update for people, by the way. I went back and did some back analysis on shows. So since T-Shroom has become more of a staple on the show, because I didn't feel like it was fair to go much further than that, I have won the most. I have 7 victories with the HODL Trophy. Smay actually is in second place with 4. And when you went back and look at it, T-Shroom won a couple in a row. I won a couple in a row. Smay spreads his wins out, but he has 4 wins since T-Shroom has been more a part of the show, and then T-Shroom has 3 of them. So we're going to keep you guys updated on what happens with there. I am winning. Well, maybe at the end of the year we'll have like some grand presentation.
Don't worry, I'm going to win again.
You got to win a lot here to take victory, Smay.
Don't worry, I'm going to
What
win
is
again.
your prediction, Smay? You got to go first. T-Shroom was the second one,
I'm gonna
and
win
I get
this
to bat
week.
cleanup.
I'm going to win this week.
Do you even know what the price of Bitcoin is right now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It is like 19 something.
19,329. Yeah. What is your prediction for Friday?
My prediction for Friday. You guys ready?
I don't know if I'm ready, actually.
17.6.
Whoa.
Okay. Going bearish here. Well, you got a lot of room to work with there, T-Shroom.
Yeah.
Who wants to take the under? Clearly no one wants to take the under. That was a joke.
That was loud.
I know it was loud.
17.6, he said.
No one wants to take the under.
I am going to say 20,000.
20,000.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good bet.
That is a good one.
Got to sandwich Tim in there.
Well, you only sandwich me if I choose to go between.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to go above.
So here's my dilemma. 20,000 is
a
a good prediction, T-Shroom, and the reason why is because I think we're going to see a little bit of a rally. The question is how much. There's going to be some small volatility after the announcement because that's what always happens. You go back and look at the days that we get Fed announcements, there's volatility in there. But I'm going to go ahead and go to the upside. I'm going to take the top. I'm going to say 20,500.
Oh,
I told you guys when I was talking to Paul, CVO, that what I'm looking for Bitcoin to do is break through that descending level of resistance. To do so, we got to break through the 20,005 first, and then we got to get back towards 21. I don't think we'll make all of that room up by Friday, but I think we're going to start start working on it. And I think people are going to have a breath of fresh air with some bullishness coming back in the space. So I'm going to say 20,500 and lock in that one. And I'll be the top. We got a sandwich for a t-shirt, but you got a lot of room there below you.
How can people participate in this competition?
So this is the thing. You guys know who you've been watching for a while, but we have the competition between the three of us. But we now have it so that you guys can compete with each other. And what you're going to do, go to my screen real quick, and we're going to have some inception here on this one for a little bit.
Okay.
So if you guys are in chat right here on the side, you can put your numbers. Look, Alex Green just put his number, 21,988. Great number, Alex. That will not be entered into the competition for community HODL trophy winners. You got to go down below the description, and it's not up yet. You got to wait till we are not live anymore, but comment your prediction with price prediction. And by the way, go ahead this week, add in there. You can go off my screen now. Add in there whose team you want, and it's going to correlate to what your price level is, but who is the closest to your price? Are you Team Smay, Team T-Shroom, or Team Tim? Put your price prediction and who you think will win this week between the three of us, and you'll be entered to be that fan who gets to get a week of bragging rights about winning the Community HODL Trophy. Guys, that's all we have for you today. Make sure to stay tuned every single day, though. We come to you live Monday through Friday, 10 to about 11:15-ish. We've been going later here recently. That might become a staple. Make sure you tune in for all the information you need about crypto. And guess what? In case you guys hadn't noticed, I'm going to go ahead and just announce it. What we're doing is there's a lot of people who do not have an hour and some change to watch the show every single morning. If you want to and participate with us, we want to continue to build that community. But we are putting out some of the best clips of the show every afternoon so that those who do not have a whole hour to watch can still take part in the information that we're giving you guys here on the show. So make sure if you miss any part, if you want to go back and watch some stuff, you can go watch those afternoon videos coming out every single day at 2, 4, and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just go in, smash the like, and comment something just to give support to this channel. If you guys are wondering, Tim, what else can we do to help you guys? Just like and comment on all of our videos. That's all we have for you in this one, though. We will see you tomorrow, and I'm super excited to hear what happens on Wednesday with that next interest rate hike. I will see you guys, though, in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.